Welcome back. So we are now on Esther chapter 5. And if you've been following along with us, let's just keep going and diving in. It's such an amazing story. And I would love it if you guys just took a moment to really ask yourself, God, what are you trying to reveal to me through this? So we all have a beautiful purpose for where God has placed us on this earth. And I think the story speaks beautifully about that. But let's continue. Chapter 5, Esther's request to the king. So where we left off, she said, pray and fast for me, right? Because I'm going to go into the king, and if I die, I die. What a statement to make. Or in the words in this book, it said perish. On the third day, Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the palace in front of the king's hall. The king was sitting on his royal throne in the hall, facing the entrance. When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased with her and held out to her the gold scepter that was in his hand. So Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. Again, God's favor showing up, right? Then the king asked, "What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom. If you ask of it, it will be given to you." "If it pleases the king," Esther replied, "let the king, together with Haman, come today to a banquet I have prepared for him." "Bring Haman at once," the king said, "so that we may do what Esther asks." So the king and Haman went to the banquet Esther had prepared. As they were drinking wine, the king again asked Esther, "Now, what is your petition? It will be given you. And when your request is given, even up to half the kingdom, it will be granted." So he's willing to give her half of the kingdom. Again, great favor. And someone reminded me that the king was used to kind of being coaxed along so people could get what they wanted from him. And it's unfortunate, but that's probably very true of people who are in higher positions. People are always expecting something from them. And so this banquet kind of carries into another one, which we'll see. And it's probably because she wants him to feel more valued than anything. And there needs to be value when we talk to people, especially people who are in positions of authority. We want them to know that they're respected and not just always, we don't always just want something from them. So this was a good preparation for her to know she just has a heart for the king. All right. Now, it doesn't say that in the scripture. That's just kind of someone surmising that could be the case. Okay. So the king and Haman went to the banquet Esther had prepared. And as they were drinking, I already read the part. Even he offered the king offered up to half of his kingdom to Esther. Okay. So Esther replied, "My petition and my request is this. If the king regards me with favor, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition and fulfill my request, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to the banquet I will prepare for them. Then I will answer the king's question." So there's going to be a second banquet. Haman went out that day, so this is right after the banquet, the first banquet, happy and in high spirits. He saw Mordecai at the king's gate and observed that he neither rose nor showed fear in Haman's presence. He was filled with rage, Haman that is, against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home. Calling together his friends and Zeresh, his wife, Haman boasted to them about his vast wealth, his many sons, and all the ways the king had honored him and how he had elevated him above the other nobles and officials. And that's not all, Haman added. I'm the only person Queen Esther invited to accompany the king to the banquet she gave. And she has invited me along with the king tomorrow to accompany the king to the banquet she gave again. And she has invited me along with the king tomorrow. But all this gives me no satisfaction as long as I see that Jew Mordecai sitting at the king's gate. So he's delighted, and then he sees and realizes that Mordecai still isn't bowing, and he's like, "Arr!" and filled with anger again. How silly. Let things anger him like that. That's my opinion. So Haman's wife Zeresh and all her friends said to him, "Have a gallows built 75 feet high, and ask the king in the morning to have Mordecai hanged on it. Then go with the king to the dinner and be happy." This suggestion delighted Haman, and he had the gallows built. Now, gallows, from what I understand, are these like this area with these really long, tall poles that are really pointy at the top, and then they would throw people on top of them to kill them. Kind of scary and icky. So that is what Haman built, thinking that he would be able to throw Mordecai on those. Kind of crazy. All right, so that the plot thickens, and Haman up to no good again. So that's after the first banquet. Let's see what happens in the next chapter.